Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Mandela Effect, the proper attitude. I've been getting a lot of feedback, and people are wondering. Oh, by the way, this is not for the beginner. Hopefully, you see my 20 plus videos, and you know what the Mandela Effect is. We're not going to go through the whole Luke on your father, knowing your father thing. So, if you're just now finding me, well, you can listen. But anyway, moving right along. A lot of folks are asking me the question, was this a malevolent thing, benevolent thing? Is it CERN, quantum jumping, timeline, this, that, demons? I mean, I've heard every theory under the sun. And what I want to do is talk about the proper attitude and try to get refocused and get our, roots grounded. Because regardless, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter what happened. We have to acknowledge that there is a destructive power in our existence. The Bible calls us demons. Was it the Quran? They call it the jinn. I mean, there's shadow people, elves, fairies, whatever. Well, I'm not going to throw elves and fairies in that category. But, there's demons. Some jinn are good and bad. Anyway, I don't want to get all that. Basically, the point is there is a destructive power. There is an enemy. All the religions speak of this. So let me give you my opinion on it. Nothing touches us more profoundly for good or for ill than power. Power can destroy or create. The sin of power is the desire to be more than what we are created to be. It can lead to human wanting to be a god. Our headstrong determination to do things our way makes God's voice distant and his word hard to hear. Power is insidious when it is coupled with pride. Pride must, pride makes us think we are right. And power gives us the ability to cram our vision of righteousness down everyone else's throat. We can't do that, folks. Paul states that our warfare is against the principalities, against the powers, against the world rulers of this present darkness, against the spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. That is where the battle is. When we look at our own insane drive to make it to the top, we must confront the powers of pride and prestige that grip our hearts. We desperately need to be free of the spiritual powers of racism and oppression as well. We cannot look at the crimes of incest and rape without realizing that these are crimes of power. Sex is power. Real power. That's why it's all over our media. You can't buy a car without the sexy lady. Every music video, they exploit sex. It's power. It's real. People want to disregard it. No, it's real, folks. The principalities and powers do not just have power. They are power. Power is how they manifest themselves. To dominate. To control. To devour. To imprison is their very essence. So how do we defeat them? Well, Christ did disarm the principalities and powers and made a very public example of them. He triumphed over them in him. We defeat the powers by cultivating the gift of discernment. Let me say that one more time. We defeat the powers by cultivating the gift of discernment. By defeating the powers by forthrightly facing the demons within. By inner renunciation of all things pertaining to them. By rejecting the weapons of power of this world. The failure is to understand that the real battle has more to do with the powers of greed, vested interests, and egomania than with actual persons and structures of government. There are two great mistakes that people make in regards to demons. The first one is to disbelieve in their existence, and second, The other is to believe and feel an excessive and unhealthy interest in them. Let there be no mistake that the powers are strong, but Christ is and always will be stronger. Always. It can be extremely difficult to find a healthy balance between being aware of the enemy and how he works and being overly concerned about it. This is what the Mandela folks are going through. It can be extremely difficult to find a healthy balance between being aware of the enemy and how he works and being overly concerned about it. On one hand, we can start to blame everything on the devil. On the other, we can just, deny his existence and blow the whole thing off. Demons are the equivalent to rats, ants, or cockroaches. As long as there is garbage to feed on, they will be there to feed. You get rid of them by throwing out the garbage and keeping it out. You ever had a neighbor move out of your apartment and all of a sudden all the cockroaches came over to your apartment? It's because they had nothing to feed on. They left. You get rid of the garbage, they leave. If there is no garbage, then they won't come back. They will go somewhere else. Well, there is garbage to feed on. Alright, maybe this is too simplistic in regards to power. The bottom line is our intentions. As long as our intentions are to benefit the kingdom of God, then our actions will be pure and free from the enemy's attack. It all begins with our thoughts. The enemy attacks our thoughts to skew them from God's purpose and design. The battle begins and ends in our actions. Nothing can come into creation unless first someone thought of it. You must think of something and then turn that into an action, and then it becomes reality. So the battle, let me back up. The enemy attacks our thoughts. Yes, folks, the enemy attacks your thoughts. And he skews them. He twists them. He takes you away. He taints it away from God's purpose and design. He turns it to the opposite. The enemy attacks our thoughts and eschews them from God's purpose and design. That's how he works. The battle begins in our minds and it ends in our actions, folks. Please, let's all get on board. Rock and roll. I'm ready to go to heaven. God bless and have a good night.